What's up, y'all? We're back out here at the range, as you can see, on another cold winter day. Not supposed to be quite as bad this time. Temps right now just a little bit above freezing. I think we're supposed to hit 50 sometime today, but probably be in the mid-high 40s for me out here. But the one really good thing is there ain't much breeze out here today, so that makes a huge difference. I should be able to get some interesting stuff done today, and we're gonna start it out with some more good old 40 Smith & Wesson. So we got the jelly contraption up early, ready to roll with a couple of chronos and 2 fresh blocks of gel. First test of the day, so you get a really good clear picture of what happens on this one. Heavy clothing barrier, of course. It's got the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And once again, we got some 40 Smith & Wesson here for this one. This is some stuff that my local shops had quite a while. I didn't realize I had tested this. They've actually got it in 2 different weights. What we're looking at here, as you can see, is the Remington HTP. Now, this one's the 155 grain version, so nice weight for 40. I think 165 might be the sweet spot, but 155 does well also. We tested HST not long ago in 165 and 155. Now, HST 155 has been discontinued, but you can still get plenty of it out there on the market. It was actually calling for 1160, and we saw right at 1100 from my G27 on that. So 1160 is what it was saying. Now, this HTP is saying 1205 at the muzzle. It doesn't say a barrel length test length, so I'm assuming 4 to 5 inch. But 1205 here, where the HST was only saying 1160, so this might be actually a little better than the HST if it actually holds up to those numbers. There you can see your cartridge, brass case, nice looking projectile on this. It's not just your basic dent in lead like some of them we see. This one's got a really nice deep center cavity there, so we should see some good stuff from this. And as for what I'm running them out of, we got a couple different barrel lengths here. For the shorty, we've got the Glock 27. It's got the 3.5 inch barrel, and then for the full size, I've got the G22 with the 4.5. And just like I always mention on these 40 Smith & Wesson tests, if you're running a G23, you can kind of guesstimate right in between the performance you see here. So this ought to be some pretty good stuff. I know the general consensus of many people is that HST is just a top dog, period, but this stuff right here might give it a run for its money. Let's get everything set up and see what happens. All right, let's see what kind of numbers we get from this stuff, y'all. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each barrel length, starting with this 27 first. Now, this lab radar is going to give you multiple velocity readings. The large numbers right here at the muzzle, and then you've got 5 across the bottom. The first one there is set for 3 yards, which is roughly where my gel is here at 10 feet. And I've got the other set for 10, 15, 25, and 50 yards. Now, remember the box on this was saying 1205, didn't say any kind of test barrel length, so I'm assuming we're going to get a little less than that here. And remember again that we got right at 1100 from the HST 155 out of this G27, so it'll be a good comparison to see what we get here. 1080, 1053, 1050. It got my hopes up. 1057. And 1059, so not quite where that HST was, but this stuff was incredibly consistent. Let's check out the average. All right, y'all, so our 5-round average that time was 1060, so that's a far cry off from that 1205. I doubt we're gonna see 1205 even from that longer barrel, but we'll see. We had an extreme spread of 30 with an 11.7 standard deviation. Now that's a little bit misleading because that first round was pretty good bit higher than the rest. It was at 1080. The rest of them, I believe, were within 10 of each other. So this stuff seems nice and consistent. A little bit slower than the HST, and definitely slower, I'm figuring, than even what we'll see out that long one as far as what they're claiming. But let's get it reset and see what the longer barrel does. All right, let's see what we get from this 4.5 inch barrel. I know there's a terrible glare right now from the sun, but it just is what it is this time of year. Just make believe that I'm going for an artistic, cinematic kind of feel or something if it makes you feel better. Now remember, this right here is where they're saying 1205 without any kind of test barrel. This is 4.5, so we should get close to that, but I seriously doubt it. I didn't test the HST from this, so I don't know what it would have been with the HST. 1144, 1107, 1126, 1150, and 11.16. So this one right here seemed a little bit all over the place. Let's check out this average. All right, so that time we had a 5-round average of 1,128 feet per second. Extreme spread was 43 with an 18.2 standard deviation. So 1128, they're claiming 1205 as far as the ballistics info on their site. I don't know what they're getting out of, because that's a far cry from 1205, and that's a 4.5-inch barrel. But 1128 here, if you remember, out the shorter barrel, it was 1,060. So you're talking about 68 feet per second difference. That seems about right. So again, I don't know where they're getting that 1,205 feet per second. That must be some incredibly tight tolerance test barrel, and who knows what the length is. But with that being said, it's really not that far off from the HST, at least out of the shorter barrel, because I've got that to compare with. What was it, like 40 FPS difference? So not much at all. And if you count that one high outlier, that's only like 20, less than 20 FPS difference. But with this being a 155 grain projectile and it looks pretty decently designed, I think we're still gonna get some good performance in the gel. But let's get it all set up. Y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's got an H in the name, but will it perform the same? Jelly time. We'll put one from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this 27 first. I got a feeling we're gonna see some good performance here, even though they're a little bit slower than what I would personally want to see from 155. Wow, I think that thing zipped all the way through those blocks. Let me go check this out. All right, y'all, that is not at all what I expected right there. I mean, it sure enough went all the way through that first block into the second block, and then came out about 3/4 of the way through that second block. Absolutely no expansion. There's no doubt in my mind. So let's try this one right here from the longer barrel. Hopefully, I don't know. I just don't have good hopes for this right here now. I mean, that did the exact same thing, y'all. Both of those things went all the way through both of these blocks. Let me go check this out. All right, y'all, let's take just a really quick look at what happened down here. This is not at all what I expected. I didn't expect the best performance, especially after seeing that velocity. I mean, that was already too weak for me. There was no way I would have picked this stuff up anyway, but I did not expect a total failure down here from both of these barrel lengths, and that's what we got. We got an absolute 100% total failure down here. On the top, I mean, they both look the same, but on the top, of course, that was the G27. On the bottom was the G22. You can see both of them. Now, you do have decent disruption there, because like we always talk about, even regardless of expansion, a projectile going through there is going to give you some disruption, and it's going to do some damage. So you got some disruption, but absolutely no expansion. There's no doubt. There's no cloth through this track, which is one way sometimes to tell if you got some expansion, because it'll open up and dump the cloth out. My assumption here is that it just clogged up. That lower velocity with that, what I assume now is not that great of a projectile, just clogged up and could not clear that cloth out. So all the way through the first block, both of them into the second block, the 27 started curving to the side, so it came out right about right there. The 22 kept on trucking straight line all the way through, straight out the other end. Not much to look at even up close, but I'll give you a closer look here. As you can see, again, you got some disruption, because I mean, it's a 40 cal projectile moving through there, so you're going to get some disruption. But like I said, no cloth dumped out. You got a little bit of cloth right there. I can see some, but generally you would see it just dumped out way earlier than that. So it just kept on trucking. As you can see right there, the 27 came out, and if you keep on going, the 22 all the way out the end. And right here, of course, would be the time that we check out the projectiles, but obviously there's none to check out, and I'm not about to send more down here and fill this gel up with tracks to catch some unexpanded bullets down there in some towels. So I think it goes without saying, if you're looking for my personal opinion on these right here, there ain't no way I would pick these up for any kind of purpose. All right, y'all, definitely not how I wanted to start the day of testing. This was just absolutely terrible performance. 40 Smith & Wesson is very hard to get wrong. I think we've seen maybe 2 or 3 times where it wasn't great that you could call it a failure. So when you get 40 Smith & wrong, like out here today, I mean, this is just extraordinarily bad when you get 40 Smith & Wesson that wrong. I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt during the velocity test, and I could see that it was a little bit low and definitely lower than what they were claiming, but it wasn't that far off from the HST, so I thought maybe there was a chance. But that just shows you projectile design really does matter when you're right kind of on the edge as far as velocity is concerned. But let me know what y'all think about it down in the comments. Any y'all out there actually run this HTP and 40 Smith & Wesson, especially this 155? What do you think about the performance you saw out here today? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you reach down and hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and if you're supposed to be subscribed, double check and make sure that you still are, and make sure you got those notifications turned on so you get notified when I upload stuff. Big thanks as always to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. I've got a couple more tests planned for out here today that hopefully go much better than this right here, so stay on the lookout for those, and in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.